Yo. See some of y'all popping in. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Give everybody a little bit to join. Oh, let me turn off these distractions too, because I got a lot of them going on. I am not Ricky. But Ricky, my boy, though. This is James. I'm the co-host of the Dear Fathers podcast. I'm here rocking with y'all tonight. We're going to talk about financial health. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us. We got some dope brothers joining tonight for the conversation, so we're going to get into it in a couple of minutes. Peace, Tim. What's good, King? Oh, it's Ricky from his wife's page. I got you. Ricky, what's good, my boy? You got to get in your own page, though. I was a little confused by that one. Got my co-host in here. Jesse, what's good, my boy? Dear Fathers podcast checking in. Hey, make sure y'all got to follow that Dear Fathers podcast page. If y'all on the Dear Fathers page too, we need love over there too. Me and Jesse hitting y'all with dope episodes every week. We just dropped Kev on stage last week, so dope conversations just happening back to back. So definitely, if y'all haven't tapped into Dear Fathers podcast, we need you. Season 3 has been litty. It's been dope. Somebody try to join the live. I don't know who you are, though, sweetheart, so you can't come in here. All right, we got our people jumping in. Kyren, what's good, family?
What's going on, B-Dog? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Good, bro. Happy to see you here, man.
Yo, same.
We gonna give a couple more minutes, let a couple more people join in. And we got Donald joining too. As soon as he tap in, we'll get everybody in here and we'll get started.
It's a bit.
How's life though, fam? You healthy? Good?
I can't complain. I'm just trying to learn every day I can, man.
I hear you. Same here, bro. Same here. Let me see where Donald is. Peace, Kings. Thank y'all for joining. We're going to get started here real shortly. Just waiting on one other person to join for us and we get to it.
OTX, I appreciate it. I see you in the comments, big dog.
Monique, we talking financial health, financial literacy, everything about financial freedom, generational wealth, that conversation, how you have it, how you focus on it, how you get your kids involved in it. That's the topic for today, this evening.
Quan Brown, I appreciate it, big dog.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and Donald might be in here, but we'll go ahead and get started as I'll pull him up. So, Kyren, appreciate you jumping on with us today, family. As others have said in the chat, man, big fan of you, your work, everything you've been doing in the community with your son. So just super dope. But I wanted to start off, man. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody here who doesn't know you? Give them a little bit of who you are.
My name is Kyren Gibson. I'm known for all the teachings and the things I do in the community with my son. I'm big on financial literacy with him. So, he just turned 9. We had a lot of videos last year that go crazy viral, but we're not in it for that. We're in it to change the narrative for us, So just devoting our life to that. And I'm just trying to make sure my son don't make the same mistakes that I did. And also for parents that watch me and look at me, like I always tell everybody anytime I'm on an interview, I'm a successful screw up. So, you gonna mess up. Ain't nobody perfect. Albert Einstein wasn't born perfectionist. Michael Jordan wasn't born that way. LeBron wasn't born that way. Malcolm, he was red before that. Martin Luther King Jr. So, everybody, that's watching, anybody can change their narrative today, so that's why I do it for, I'm big on just trying to change my narrative and my path and my generational wealth, and also if anybody's looking to follow and do it with us, what I'm saying, while we sit here and learn this path and this journey, so.
Yeah, that's dope, King. And I think what you said there was really important. None of us are perfect, and we all have a past. We've all kind of fallen short in whatever regard it comes to in life. But the biggest thing is learning from those mistakes and setting yourself on a path to really correct those things. But then also guide our children to make sure that they don't fall short in the same ways that we did. So definitely salute to you for everything that you've done in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything in life is a lesson. So you got the right mindset about it. And I think that's why you've been successful so far.
Appreciate it.
Donald, I see you, bro, but you're lagging. Can you hear us? I don't know if your internet is acting funny or what's going on there. Yeah, he might be getting kicked out. So we'll let him back in when he comes back in. But kicking it off tonight, for those who don't know me, I'm James Meeks. I'm the co-host of the Dear Fathers podcast. I rock out with my boy, Jesse Alex. We do the podcast. We drop episodes every Tuesday. And we really like to focus in on, just giving fathers a platform to talk about the things that they aren't actually known for. We talk to a lot of celebrity dads, a lot of popular dads, but they aren't always given a platform to talk about fatherhood and really talk about the positive things that they're doing in their communities with their families and things like that. So we trying to change the narrative. That's what we focus on every week. But tonight, man, I'm here to kick off the Dear Fathers Mental Health Month, which is super important. We're connecting with men and fathers, and we're making sure that we're building ourselves up. We got to build ourselves up mentally, physically, financially, all of the above, right? So it's important for me to have this conversation tonight with Kyren and also with Donald when he jumps back on, because these two brothers are killing it when it comes to financial health, financial literacy, and really just honing in and making sure that we're making the right decisions and we're educated as a community, because oftentimes we fall victim to what we don't know. And we aren't always taught these things. They're not taught in schools. Our parents might not know these things, so they don't know to teach them to us. So we really trying to change that narrative. So to really get into the conversation, man, before we started off, I had 3 quick questions for you, Kyren. Tell the people where you from, how many kids you got, and what you want for Father's Day.
I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, so I'm from the mountains. So you're going to hear the country in my voice. But I'm from the mountains. You know what I'm saying? I only got one son. I'm 29 years old. I'll be 30 in July next month. One son. You know, trying to break my past doings of having a child before I was 21. You know, and not trying to have all these kids out here with all these multiple women. You know what I'm saying? You know, and for Father's Day, man, I'm thankful for life, bro. Like, you know, a lot of people have these cliche answers, man. You know, I done seen so many of my friends and family members be putting that ground early. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just thankful for breathing, you know what I'm saying? Getting a chance to, you know, change the narrative every day. So as long as I'm living by Father's Day.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro. You know, we wake up every day and thank God for life. So that's definitely amazing. And I think, you know, if we get that, then, you know, everything else is gravy after that.
Right. Be good.
Donald, you back, family?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? You don't see me?
Yeah, we hear you. I hear you.
Oh, man.
See you,
Tech glitches. Let me see if I can switch to Wi-Fi to help me out a bit.
Okay. And then while we waiting on that, the next one I have for you, Kyren, was, what does financial freedom mean to you, bro?
Being able to do what you want, you know. I'm always hearing, you know, money's the root to all evil. That's only with the wrong mind, you know. I seen being broke the biggest root of all evil. You know, I've been a part of that. You know, I just had to steal just to eat. I done stole because of greed. You know, so I done robbed folks. I done, you know, things I'm not proud of. You know what I'm saying? Because of my stomach growling, or just because of greed. You know, just to have these new shoes or this and that, or, you know, hustling and that and the third. So financial freedom is just, you know, getting on the steady path early. You know, a lot of us, we wait too late. That's why I'm so big on my son, because I do not want him to go through my trials and, you know, tribulations like I did. You know what I'm saying? Chasing shoes, chasing girls, was blowing all my money, ain't stacking it. You know, having to get them paychecks and make that $100 shake to that Friday to pay get them, you know, get that money. You know, and, you know, going to the shoe store, blowing $220 for shoes, knowing like, bro, that could be in your pocket just to press some girls, you know what I'm saying? And you know, just to pay bills. I done, you know, so like I done been up, I done been down, I done had $100, I done had 30, 40, 50,000, and have nothing to show for it. And that's the issue here. You know, the black community, we got the money. We just spending on the wrong things. And I'm just gonna keep pressing it. And I had that issue every day. I'm not no saint, y'all. You know, I'm on every day. I'm sitting here like, do I want to go get that? Nah, I can't. Come on, put it back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so big on, you know, I want everybody to understand that if we could sit here and put our kids in school every day, and let there, and I don't, you know, if I offend you, I will. I speak raw. To let our oppressors teach our kids for 8 hours every day, and we can't sit here and teach our kids this, or, you know, like the book I made, go get one of those books of somebody else's books, or listen to somebody on YouTube just for an hour out your time, or 2 hours with your kids. There's something wrong, you know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. We so lazy, and we so stuck in what we got to do in our lives, and we're here, you know, we're here to take care of our children, because our children take care of us longer than we actually take care of them.
Yeah.
if we raise them right.
Right there.
You know what I'm saying? If we raise them right, they're gonna end up taking care of us when we 60 and 70 if we make it that long. So why would we not sit here and invest the time to learn for ourselves and reprogram ourselves to teach them to make sure, okay, we make sure he can take care of his family, or she can take care of her kids. With the man, or without a woman, or whatever. You all want us to all to be together. But, you know, we need to teach our kids that, and also be able so they can make sure we straight. I don't want my son borrowing until he's damn 100 years old. I don't want him having to say he'll be 50 years old, 60 years old, wondering where he's going to get his next meal, or having to sleep with a woman and lie and say he love her and play with her emotions just so he can have somewhere to lay his head. It's so deep. You know what I'm saying? It's real deep, and we don't think about it like that. So that's why I go so hard about this financial literacy.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, man. And I think, you know, some of the points you hit on there, just in terms of, you know, we got to break the cycle. And the only real way to break the cycle is to gain that education. And I think you said, you made the point about reprogramming, because we all program, right? Whoever is giving us the information, you mentioned the oppressors, like we all go to white schools growing up, things like that. And we're taught what they want us to teach us in those textbooks. But like any other book, right, they're altered, things are taken out. It's all about controlling the mind. So it's really up to us to go out and make sure we're getting and attaining the right knowledge so that we can give that to our children. And one of the things that as a father I like to harp on is everything your child learns shouldn't be from school anyways. 100%. You know what I mean? You sending them off to school, granted, everybody doesn't homeschool or can't afford to, you know, whatever, but if they at school, that's fine. But when they come back home, it's on us as parents to really instill in them the things that they need to know. Otherwise, we throwing them out into the world and they don't really know what's happening. They don't really know what's going on. So it's really up to us to really make sure that we're educating, we have that knowledge, and we give that to them. Otherwise, like we as parents, we setting them up for failures when they get out into the world on their own.
That builds resentment too, right? You know, when they get out in the world and they look back and go, man, mom and dad never told me X, Y, and Z. Man, these kids are dealing with a lot, way more than we were dealing with when we were growing up. And I think about that all the time. The decisions they have to make at this early stage in the game. Like when I was in middle school, high school, all I cared about was what's for dinner and can I go hang out with my buddies, you know, on the weekend. Where can I go on the weekend? And now these kids have to make considerations for politics, right? You know, for who they accept, you know, friends that have different opinions on things. There's so many more things. And then I think we're going to be dealing with some of the mental aspects of COVID-19 and the wealth gap for generations to come that we aren't even really thinking about right now, right? But it's a lot of pressure on these kids, man. And I have, you know, one of your earlier questions, I have an 8-year-old and a 9-month-old. So we had a COVID baby. We had a COVID baby. And, you know, and the blessing of that was that I had the ability to spend a lot more time, you know, with my son, you know, my 9-month-old, you know, than I did with my daughter because, you know, she was in preschool, I was at work, you know, all the things, you know, but the things that I see in my daughter, the things that she has to reconcile. I'll never forget the day I came home. My daughter was like, I don't like Donald Trump. And that pissed me off because I don't want her forming those opinions outside of our house. Those opinions were formed at school with her classmates and her classmates getting those opinions from their parents and her friends, right? And it's crazy the things that our kids soak up that we have to deal with. And it's one of those things where you got to be extra proactive at being involved, right, with your kids just to make sure that when they finally leave the nest and do their own thing, that they're prepared. Because trust me, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all have been accustomed to, you know, relationships and things that we all deal with, you know, trauma that we dealt with as kids and then our partners, right? Things that they dealt with that we have to also deal with too.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Donald. And even that point about your kid learning about Donald Trump, I actually had that same thing happen with my 11-year-old. He came home from school and he was like, he hates Donald Trump, blah, 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 blah. And I know he never heard me talk like that. So I'm like, well, where did you get that from? How? And then you break it down and it's what the kids at school were telling him, right? And it was like, look, like we form our own opinions. We don't just go with the crowd or the masses because they say that's what's, you know, why we should do that. Now let's break down why you like or dislike this person. And then I can kind of give you the facts as to where you should really stand on the issues. But that's a great point. We definitely got to make sure that we're in tune with what the kids are taking in when they're away from us, because we get them for a certain number of hours out the day. The rest of those hours, they off in the world.
100%, man.
Yep.
And here's the thing, and we all know how much we were influenced by, like, you know, the homies and the girls and everybody like that we grew up with. That's heavy, man. And I feel sometimes as parents, we get so, especially as black folks too, we get so focused on all the other things, right? Keeping the lights on, you know, trying to attain wealth and do the things that we want to do that sometimes our parents couldn't do. And sometimes the kids get missed. They get missed. But we forget that when we were their age, the stuff we were into. And I try to consistently remind myself of that. And it scares me every time I think about it, because I know my mindset when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, you know, and again, that was back during easier times. Things were a lot lighter back then, man. These kids got heavy things to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to take a step back real quick because I know we had the technical difficulty. So I want to make sure, Donald, we get you properly introduced. So Donald Hawkins, you're the founder of First Boulevard, which is a bank, digital bank that was built for us and by us, which is really dope. So tell the folks a little bit about you and those same 3 questions for you. Where you from? How many kids you got? You said you got 2, and what you want for Father's Day.
I love that. All right. I'm from Albany, Georgia. I'm a country boy, man. 3 hours south of Atlanta. 2 kids, 8-year-old, 9-month-old. And for Father's Day, man, you know, it's cheesy, bro. All I care about at this stage in life, man, is my wife and kids being happy, bro. Like, honestly, I got enough ties, T-shirts, and underwear for a lifetime. So I try not to expect too much past that.
Yeah, well, I don't accept draws no more for Father's Day gifts. So I'll tell them straight up, don't bring me no draws.
Bro, give me those tips, man. I need those tips. Bro. I got underwear for a lifetime.
Well, then kind of same question to you, Donald, that I gave to Kyren. What does financial freedom mean to you?
Bro, man, it is living our ancestors' wildest dreams, right? Man, we've been in this country 400 plus years, and every generation of Black America struggles, right? But it is extremely easy to see our counterparts and how they've been able to succeed and build wealth. You know, so financial freedom for me is being able to, and I think a lot of Black men think this way too, not only take care of ourselves and our families, but also our extended family, right? Because we're thinking about our mothers, our fathers, our aunties, right? And I think all of us now are at an age where that paternal responsibility is starting to fall on us. My dad held the responsibility for a long time, not just for my mom, but for a lot of my single aunties and his mom and his sisters. And now I'm at a stage in my life where, like, I'm like, Dad, you did your job, bro. It's on me now, right? So financial freedom is being able to take care of my people, right? You know, without the fear of what not too much money or too little money means, right? You know, some very, very wealth-minded, very, you know, it's a scary thing, right? Because we don't have a whole lot of examples of what that looks like, right? So a lot of us are kind of forging brand new paths. But that's what financial freedom is for me, to be able to take care of yourself, your immediate family, and your external family, you know, without a fear, right, of decisions that you make and where the money's coming from.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm definitely aligned with that. Both of what you brothers said about financial freedom, I think it's something that we all should strive for, you know, as Black people, you know what I mean? 'Cause there's been so much that's been taken from us. And until we actually get that financial freedom, you know what I mean? Like, we won't really live the life that we were put here to live. So definitely want to encourage everybody to keep striving for that. But so kind of going back in, Kyren, I want your thoughts on this, man. So both of you brothers really have made it a mission to educate, inform, and inspire the Black community to make better decisions with their finances. And I think that's a dope, noble mission. It's one of the best causes out there. But what I want to understand is, like, what got you into financial literacy? Like, was it something that you was taught growing up, or did something unlock for you later on in life that really made you say, you know what, I really need to double down on this because this is missing in our community?
My stomach growling. Not having what looking at other people like, damn, like, you know, I know they're not smarter than me. They're not, you know, they're not better than me. I know I can have it without hating, because, you know, I'm an athlete. I'm a former athlete, so I have a positive, envious outlook at things. If I see you doing your thing, it makes me hungry, so I can do that too.
It's competitive.
Yeah, competitive. Not no. He look at, you know, that crab in the bucket. Look at him. You know, forget him. He a lame. I don't do all this. I don't do that. I see you doing something that makes me hungry. Like, I can do that too. So then I start storming. I'm still brainstorming on multiple ways. You know, the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. Excuse me. So I just, like I said, man, like me just struggling like I struggle. I just don't want my son to feel that. And I don't want nobody else's child to feel that. You know, out of every 6 kids, I think there's 3 kids. Half of them are hungry, not getting meals at night. If I can help a child learn this, or parents say, here, get this little $20 book, and it sparks their brain in some way, shape, or form. Or when I say sparks somebody's brain, man, hey, my mission is complete. I don't care about how much money I got. I don't care about all these women. I don't care about that stuff no more. I don't care how much shoes I got, what kind of car I'm driving. If I can sit here and my name is left in that person's brain forever, like, dang, like, you know, Kyren Gibson, or when his son posted that, man, that inspired me, or that made me go this hard, my kid, and their kid become successful, bro, I had a piece of that. That's why I went so hard with this.
That's dope, man. That's dope. What about you, Donald? What got you into, you know, being passionate about financial literacy?
Bro, honestly, and transparently, imposter syndrome, right? So I'm the second generation within my family that has been in a position where I was more fortunate than my predecessors, right? So my father was the first person to integrate this high school. My grandmother grew up as a sharecropper, right? And for a lot of folks who know what sharecropping is, look it up. It ain't too far from slavery. But there are a lot of black folks still living like that to this day, FYI. That's why I try to avoid Mississippi and Alabama as much as I can. But with all that said, so my sister and I never missed a meal. Always had clothes on our back. But I grew up in a town where black folks struggled, man, like a lot. And as a kid, you're like, man, well, that ain't fair. I'm going to school with these white kids and their families do this, blah, blah, blah. But my cousins and people that look like me are struggling. So I grew up with a chip on my shoulder. I never really understood, you know, how that was fair. And as kids, you know, we're innocent, man. You don't really know. But then you start growing up and realizing how the system is built. And I realized that I could do 2 things, right? I had a responsibility. I could either, and a lot of people do this, keep their head down and focus on just building my wealth, taking care of my family, or take the benefits, you know, the privilege that I was provided because of other people's hard work, not mine, other people's hard work, and do what I can to help expose people to it. And very similar to Kyrie, you know, same deal, right? You know, I realized that, especially last year, when George Floyd got murdered, I started looking at Black America in a whole different light. I think when he got murdered, many of us go through the same process, right? We get frustrated, we get pissed off. For me, I would just throw money at like causes. I'm like, all right, I'm sleeping good at night because, you know, I spent money with a black business, or, you know, I and donated to Black Lives Matter. But at the end of the day, nothing changes. So, you know, I made the decision at that point to really start looking into other communities to figure out what did they do to get out of oppression. And we can dig into that later, man. But that's a big motivation for me of kind of why I do what I do, right? You know, if we are in a position where, you know, we learn some things, like we got to be able to try to expose people, man, and teach them as much as we can, because I was lucky to be born into the family that I was born into because my dad and my grandmothers worked their ass off to make sure that we were taken care of. And I don't want to take that for granted.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. And I think, you know, what a lot of people miss is like the people that came before us really set it up, you know what I mean, for us to try to be in a better position. And it's up to us to kind of take it and run with it. And sometimes I get frustrated with our generation because I feel like, you know, the generation before us, our parents, our grandparents, like they went through a lot of shit, like way harder than what we've gone through. And sometimes I feel like, man, like we so spoiled, we ain't really fighting the fight like they do. But then I hear brothers like y'all here and I'm like, you know what? Nah, man, there's still hope. There's still people out here like-minded that really want to fight this, that really want to educate, that really want to inspire so that we can do something different, because they didn't do all of that. They didn't die. They didn't put their lives on the line for nothing. Like, we can't let them down by just, you know, sitting back and saying, oh, I'm good now. I make a couple $100,000 a year. I don't have to worry about nobody else. We can't afford to have that mentality as a people.
Bro, I wouldn't have survived back then, man. No way. Like the arrogance that we have now because of the privilege that we have because of what they went through, I wouldn't have survived back then.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, like, I mean, look at what happens. Like, if somebody were to call one of us boy, we know what's happening. We know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, but they had to grow up in a time where they had to turn the other cheek. You know, but keeping the end in mind. And I even think about like Memorial Day, man. Like we put out a post, my company, and I like to always like put this out there because I think it's more special than people realize. Man, there are black folks that gave their lives for this country, right? That did not respect them, that did not want them, but they still put their lives on the line for us.
Yep.
And that to me is a step above. It's a step above. Like patriotism, I'm all with that, right? But people who did it to protect their families and also make a living, to only come back home and be treated like third-class citizens, man, like we don't have it hard. It ain't hard for us. And that's my mentality. I never want to feel like I have it hard because there's people, my dad went through way more than I've gone through. Way more. And I always want to keep that front of mind.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man. And I come from a family of military brats, whether it's Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, all of that. And the stuff that they went through, there was no way I was signing up for that. Like, I knew when I hit 17 years old, that was the route I wasn't going because I personally was not going to deal with that. But they did it. They did it so I didn't have to. So I'm always appreciative of that. And I take it personal that I got to continue what they started years and years and years ago. So getting into, man, what we really wanted to start to talk about, man, is, you know, like our children, you know what I mean? There's a gap between, you know, what our kids are taught and, you know, what they need to know when they get out into the world. So, Kyren, I'm gonna start with you, bro. Like as a father, and you've done this early with your son, Kyng, but like how soon should we be having these conversations about financial literacy with our children?
The average child gets their personality by the time they turn 8. So that's why those videos that you've seen of us, Kyng was 8 last year. That's why I went so hard. I've been waiting for years, like, you know, wait till he turns 7 to 8 where I could really go in. So that's what we did. And you know, the earlier you start, the easier. It's just like domesticating your dogs. You don't wait till the dog is 3 years old to teach him how to go outside and pee and teach him how to sit. You teach them right when they're babies and pups. You do the same thing with your child. Whether it's little slick layman term versions of saving money, the piggy bank, we don't do that no more. When I go to the grocery store, my son is old enough to now, here's the $20, give her the money. When we go to the bank, here, this is what we have to go to the teller. What's the teller? That's the teller right there. Teach him. My son knows what employees and an employer is. I want him to know that now. You know what I'm saying? I let him, I'm working on him knowing what a CEO is and who the bosses is. I don't want him just to know that he has to be a worker. That's the problem. We send our kids out here 18 years old, or you graduate, you need to get out the house now. We got this thing where we pick on kids that they stay with their parents until they're 21, 22. We got this reverse psychology. It's sick at how we think about stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the earlier you start with your child, the easier it's going to be. That's what people need to understand. The easier it's going to be if we start right now. Like right when you have your kids and they can talk, start. It's going to be simple. Teach them about Black history. Don't wait till they 15, 16, you got issues. I mean, ain't no kid gonna listen to that. I mean, I could go back to when I was 16. I like history, but my other friends, they was like, man, I don't want to. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that you know, you hit on a lot of points there, bro. And I think you know, the starting early piece is important because you're right. You know, like when they get to that 7, 8 years old, that's when they really start to come into their own and start to develop. You know what I mean? And more things start to stick with them. And I think, you know, everything in life is about repetition, right? So if you're teaching them and you're talking about it every day, you know, eventually they're going to pick up on it and it's going to stick. And the point you made about waiting too late, that's real, bro. Because, you know, if you wait till somebody's 15, 16, 17, they already programmed. And if they programmed in a negative way, it's going to be tough to change them in that regard. They're going to have to go experience life a little bit before they come back to it. think I lost everybody. Hold on, let me see where my guys at. Instagram don't want us to be great tonight. They're kicking everybody out. All right, I got Kyren coming back in now. Dope a dose daily. You're right. They trying to block it because we speaking facts in here. They don't want to hear these words out here. Yeah, give us a second. I'm trying to get everybody back in.
I heard everything you said.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard
back.
But now expects, you know, that's why I try to tell everybody, you know, these kids, if they can sit in the back seat and know every rap song that's playing on the radio, hearing it repetitively, man, they will know what a bank is if you take the time to say it repetitively. They'll know what debit cards and why you should get credit and this, that, and the third, and you should get a house and don't have to pay, don't want to pay rent the rest of your life. And they'll understand all that if you repetitive with it, make it fun and let them know. Like my son likes shoes, he likes cars when we see certain cars. So hey, you want to have that? Yeah, but this is how you get there. Tell them that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that education, man. You got to give it to them so that they have something to aspire to. And I think the point you made that really hit home with me was, you know, teaching your son what an employee is, who the CEO is. You know what I mean? Like having those conversations are so important. It was a conversation that I have with my kids too, because like when I hit 17 years old, when I graduated high school, there was two options. It was you either go into service or you go to college. When my kids hit that age, I want the option to be, you can go to college, you come work at the family business, or what are you passionate about? Let me finance the thing that you're passionate about so you can go and do that. Like, I don't want it to just be like you got to go work for somebody your whole life if that's not what you want to do, because that's not everybody's walk. That's not everybody's path. And it's harder to attain financial freedom if you're an employee forever, unless you in tech or certain like high-paying fields and things like that.
Yep. And when you talk that, I mean, that's all you're told, you know, you gotta get a job. You gotta get a job. You gotta get a job. Some people got the motivation mentally on their own to say, I'm not doing it. But most us, okay, I gotta get a job. I'm gonna work at Family Dollar. I'm gonna work at the plant because I heard it makes $20 an hour, the most in the city or the town. We gotta stop it.
And work there for 30 years so you can get that pension and you have a retirement plan. It's like, yeah, that's great. But and I feel bad sometimes when I say that because that's the generation before us. That's what they instilled in us. So I be feeling like I be taking jabs at my parents when I say that, but I be like, yeah, I'm not waiting on that pension shit that y'all talking about though. Like I'm trying to go and create something so I'm not relying on that pension.
It's density, man. Like we got to be able to see one, be one, and I feel like our generation took things to another level. Right. You know, but also because of the generation that built that foundation for us. So we can't forget them. The hard work that they put in allowed us to do the things that we're doing right now. But you're right. Like this rat race that black folks get told we have to play. This shit ain't equal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not equal, bro. Like, man, I know so many black folks that say they retire, but they really retired. They really just relying on the government to provide them the little money that they get to keep their lights on, but they're not really living life the way they want to. It's not what they thought, you know, but we got to build more density, man. So like entrepreneurship, you know, and doing the things we need to do becomes the norm. Cause I feel like entrepreneurs in the black community, man, we're different, man. Like people don't look at us like they look at doctors and attorneys, but yet we'll look at Mark Zuckerberg. We'll look at Elon Musk and be like, oh, my God, salute. Elon Musk is doing all these things. But what if a black kid grew up and said, I want to create the world's most amazing electric car, and I want to sell it at an affordable rate, and I want to build a rocket ship to go to the moon? Mm-hmm. Black people are going to look at that kid and be like, oh, my God, hey, you know, y'all need to take care of your kids, right? But we look at white people.
You need to go work at the plant that's going to build those cars.
There you go. There you go. Work at the damn plant that Elon Musk built because of his crazy idea. We got to normalize what that looks like, man. And I feel that that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's why I also share every part of my journey, not just the highs, but also the lows. We got to allow our community to understand what it takes to get to this position and also start doing for ourselves, man. We got to start doing for ourselves.
Nah, that's super facts, bro. Super facts. So then kind of speaking to what you're doing, Donald, I want to dive in there and then we're going to get into Kyren and what he got going on too. Donald, you stepped into the financial services and banking space, which has historically ignored the needs of our people, to say it lightly. And in many cases, they've just taken advantage of us, right? So what inspired you to go and create that bank, man?
Bro, so I'm about to drop some quick history lessons, right? So George Floyd got murdered, and I'm like, all right, I got a son on the way. I went to sleep that night when I started seeing protests. There was 20-year-olds protesting. And I'm like, well, damn, when I was 20, I was protesting police brutality too. Like, I protested along with Gina Six. My dad was protesting in his 20s with the Black Power movement. Like, so every generation of my family has been protesting almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I started thinking about, like, I know sometimes entrepreneurs, we're always trying to get out there and change the game, but sometimes the answer's in history. We got to also take time away to look back. And I learned a lot of stuff, man. So the Jewish community, believe it or not, at one time in this country couldn't put their money in white banks. So a rabbi's son created Goldman Sachs, #2 investment bank in the world. Let's take it even further back. The Italian immigrant community were treated as second-class citizens. They also couldn't put their money in white banks. So they created Bank of Italy in like the 80s. In 1930, Bank of Italy turned into Bank of America, #1 commercial bank in the world. So I'm like, all right, well, damn. A financial platform like that's the way to go. How come black folks haven't done that? And I found out we actually had. So here's where it gets crazy. So Abraham Lincoln, quote unquote, frees slaves, right? So we get freed with the Emancipation Proclamation. His administration creates a financial platform called Freedmen's Savings and Trust, right? Bro, can't make this stuff up. This is America. So Freedmen's Savings and Trust takes newly freed slaves' deposits, and it's an all-white board because it's Abraham Lincoln's administration. No black folks on the board. And they make the riskiest investments. Some of their investments included the KKK. Can't make this stuff up, right? Mm-hmm. The bank does poorly because they make horrible investments. So they bring on Frederick Douglass as the president, like that Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass recognizes it's so important for black folks to have a financial platform. He puts in $10,000 of his own money into Freedmen's Savings and Trust. But the bank is so corrupt, he realizes, you know what, I'm not going to be the scapegoat. He leaves. And a year after he leaves, the bank closes, and the slaves, the newly freed slaves, realize that all of the deposits aren't federally insured. So when we think about black folks and like why we had such a difficult time with financial institutions, that's where it starts from. Could you imagine being a slave, fighting a war, getting freed, putting all the little money you do have in a financial platform from the person who freed you, FYI, right? And you got to go back home and go, hey, wife, we got nothing. We're starting over again, right? So for me, you know, I looked at those examples and was like, you know what? We can build our our ancestors' like wildest dreams through an all digital banking platform. So that's how First Boulevard got started. I thought I was going to have to bootstrap it because my initial thought was, what primarily, you know, Caucasian venture capitalists or investors are going to give me money to build a digital bank for black people? I was wrong. We ended up raising a $5 million seed round last year, and we're launching a very light level, limited edition, like beta product actually on June 10th. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be launching our initial product, man. And the whole goal of First Boulevard, there you go. The whole goal, man, is to really help Black America passively build wealth. That's really what our deal is. Like, you swipe your debit card with us, something good happens. Your roundup funds are going to pay down debt. You know, it's going to micro investments. It's going to cryptocurrency. So we have a lot of features that we're going to be rolling out through the remainder of the year. And man, I had to look in the mirror and think to myself, well, if I'm not going to do this, am I going to wait on somebody else to do it? Because we do that a lot as a community, and it never happens. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to act. And if other people join the game, great. The more the merrier.
Yeah, and I think that's dope, man, because, you know, it's all about taking that first step. And I think, you know, you guys have done that. You see, you know, Killer Mike and Greenwood and what they got
Salute.
going on. So it's like,
Yep.
you know, and oftentimes I think, you know, our community will look like, well, damn, like they both doing the same thing, but like it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like there's a million
Bro, we need
non-black
more.
banks out there. We need as many black
we need
banks
more,
as we can
bro.
get. You know what I mean? But we got to take our money and we got to put them in these black institutions, these black banks, to make sure that we supporting y'all. So I'm definitely signing up, man, to get on that list for the Juneteenth launch. Anything that I can help to support that, brother, definitely down for it, because we need that in our community for sure.
Appreciate you.
Yo, and then Kyren, bro, kind of same thing with you, man. You and your son, man, have created just a dope, inspirational just platform, man. When you think about just the generational wealth building, you guys had like the workbooks, the activity books. You recently launched the app too. Like, man, talk to me about the inspiration behind breaking that content down to a level so that children could understand it and build from there.
Honestly, you know, like I said, I didn't know all this 2 years ago. I'm self-taught. You know, I had to sit here and get in my Shoshin state. You know, and Shoshin, that's Japanese, you know, for being a sponge, basically, being able to put your expertise down. Because most people, when they're told that they're expert, you can't tell them that. They block out new information. So I'm basically still a sponge to this day. I don't mind asking folks what got you here, what got you there, why you do that. I don't mind asking for mental gems and help. I don't mind it. So, you know, and I was like, man, I don't want nobody going through what I had to go through, and I had to go buy books and just ciphering out little links and just going through 100 links just to learn this stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I made the book, made it layman terms for kids and parents to understand, you know, so make it easy, an activity book where they have fun, not just something you're going to read and bore you, you know. And we have the flashcard apps, as all these kids are on tablets. A lot of parents, you know, I speak on a lot of different type of topics, but a lot of parents like to pacify their kids with video games and tablets so they don't have to deal with them or go in the room, here, play this. Well, we got that since, you know, a lot of people want to pacify. We got the flashcard where I say the word, and Kyng, just like the quizzes that you've seen go viral, he says the definition. And, you know, we got the flashcard, we swipe and you can mute it and do it with your kids and, you know, get some interacting in, and also the book. And, you know, but the biggest concern, you know, that's cool that we did that, you know, but the biggest thing is, you know, what in the community that, you know, I see a lot of trouble is that we have, we get Black Pride for 15 minutes and then it's gone.
Bro,
the
so
issue,
real.
You know, so I've had, you can go look at the post when we dropped the book, 30,000 likes on the post. We didn't make 30,000 sales.
Right.
And I'm not bitter about that, because I don't care if you don't come to me. Just, you know, stop with the plotting. Go do, because we're still backed up. Why are you applying that, but you can go buy $500 worth of Brazilian weave, or you can go get your body done, or you can go buy
a new pair of J's that come out. You know what I'm saying?
You know, $4,000 Dior Jordans, or you can go fly these women in and out, big dog. You buy these chains, but you won't do something like that to invest in your child unless it's sports. That's the issue I have. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm thankful, you know, that God gave me a brain, and I put the energy into getting this book out for these kids, and, you know, and this app out, you know, but it's bigger than that. I'm talking about all of us, not just my platform. I'm talking about everybody's platform. It's the problem here, which has been for generations, is getting everybody out this 15 minutes, like they said, 15 minutes of fame, 15 minutes of Black Pride, and then jumping back into, oh, well, I don't give a damn. Yeah, that's the issue here, man. That's what kills me. That's what makes me want to just, you know, like, damn, how can we? What is it that's got us so damn lazy to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back in the crab in the bucket. Like, we'll get some pride for 15 minutes, so it takes somebody dying, you know, for us to get all together and come together. Then shit, we back to our bullshit, and that's the shit that gets me up, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's frustrating, man. But I think us, you know, those of us that are like-minded, how we are and having this conversation, we got to keep pushing and having this real conversation in our community. You know what I mean? Like when you go into the app store to see your app is what? I think it was $3.
Yeah, $3.
$2.99. Like
yeah.
Everybody who's on IG got $3. Period. Yeah. So if you like the post, you can go download. Even if you ain't got no kids, go download it to show support, because this is something for our community. You got a niece, you got a nephew, you got a friend, you got somebody who you can help out with. And the same thing on Donald's side. Like he's creating a bank. You already got your money in somebody's bank anyways, and it's probably a white man's bank. Yeah, so why not take that money and put it with a black man who you know is going to do the right things? I was reading on the website, Donald, that y'all even are giving cash back if you shop at a black-owned business. So we trying to circulate all the money within the community. Like, how do we not support that? So I think us as people, we got to do better. We got to get behind each other. You brothers, we going to make sure we using our platform to amplify what y'all got going on, because the people need to hear these things and we need to support these things and get behind them. And if we do that more as a community, we'll be fucking unstoppable. Period.
And when you say that, just for everybody that's listening, it's another issue. There's so many issues we can talk about, but we gotta reprogram this problem. You know, I don't eat fast food. I just smell it. You know, since I stopped eating that for like about 3 years, the smell of it makes me sick in my stomach. But it's so crazy. A black business get one thing wrong, will make one mistake, everybody will kill them, clown them. They can't make no mistake. They're perfect. But McDonald's can mess up your burger 466 times in 20 years, and you still going.
Bro, that is Jim Crow. Jim Crow was one of the most effective features ever enacted in the history of humankind. Right? And I get on my mom and them about this growing up. I call it appraising. We go into a black business, all of a sudden we look at everything.
Oh my God.
The forks don't look too clean. Why are the straws like that? But you're right. McDonald's, it's a running joke. That ice cream machine never works. But guess who they make all their money from? Guess who they make all their money from? Us. It's always us. Like we have to give each other grace, and we have to. It's self-hate. That's really what it is, bro. Mm-hmm. It's self-hate. Like white people have taught us, you know, that black ain't pure. Black's not good, right? And they've done a masterful job, not just with us, but with many communities worldwide. And it's going to take the same amount of effort to reprogram that, because all of these, you know, invisible inherent biases that we have, you know, it's something you have to recognize it before you can fix it. There's a lot of us that don't think we have those biases. We have to be able to recognize it and fix it. But man, bro, you could not be more on point. You're right. There are a lot of issues, but I hate how we are with each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, man, bro, we're so special, man. Like there's literally nothing black folks can't do. You got, bro, when you can talk about everybody from George Washington Carver figuring out stuff with peanuts to Michael Jordan. Like that's our range, bro, and beyond. We got all that range, but yet and still we look at each other and it is so much hurt. It is so much pain, because we got to accept it, man, you know, and we have to actively put in the same amount of effort to get over a lot of the systemic things that honestly we haven't seen, man, bro. Like, how come none of us learned anything about Freedmen, Savings, and Trust in school? But we learned about Frederick Douglass.
Right.
We knew who Frederick Douglass was. Bro, I can tell you all about Anne Frank and how she hid in that attic with her family and how Nazis were horrible to Jews. But I can't tell you hardly anything about the Tulsa race riots until now, until after the fact, right? Like, that was by design. That's the biggest crime. The biggest crime is what we weren't taught. And also, when we talked about earlier, the resentment for parents, I go back to my mom and dad and go, yo, why didn't y'all tell me about this? And I found out some of those topics they didn't even know. My mom and dad in their 60s and never knew about Freedmen, Savings, and Trust. Didn't learn about the Tulsa race riots until, you know, later in their life. Like, that's the biggest crime, I feel, in, like, the black community, what we don't learn. And we have to expel that. And that's why every time anybody hears me talk, I always tell those stories, because I want to get them out there as often as I can.
Yeah, we got to continue to tell those stories, man. You know, because being a father of 3 kids, 2 of my kids are in school now, 6th grade and finishing up kindergarten, and then my youngest, he isn't in school yet. But one of the things that I've paid close attention to from my oldest is that they're rewriting the history books. You know what I mean? Like the way that the real thing that happened with slavery, it's not even called slavery anymore. They call it indentured servants or something like that. Like they done spun it up and made it sound real pretty in the textbooks and not heavy like it's supposed to be. So I got to come back and reinforce to my children, like, nah, this is what really happened. Like, we're going to read about Malcolm X. We're going to read about Martin Luther King. We're going to read about all of these people that they're not going to tell you about, the real stories of what went down. Because I can't trust that you're really going to get it from them. And I can't wait until you're 18, 19 years old to go and figure these things out on your own. You're going to have to learn them as a kid. And it was a tough conversation even with my wife at one point, because even something as simple as Columbus Day, like it came up, my son was excited about being out of school. And I basically was like, in a nice way, like, fuck Columbus. And, you know what I mean? She was like, nah, we shouldn't be telling him that now. And I'm like, why not, though? Like, we ain't just going to celebrate this man as if he wasn't a horrible human being. Like, nah, he need to know what it is. So at like 5, 6 years old, he knew the story about Columbus, because I wasn't finna just ride out with this fake shit that they tell you in school.
Bro, we have the same battle in my house. My wife just rolls her eyes. You know, like, I'm like, listen, somebody got to tell her. I don't want to be that dad years later where she's expecting one thing. Like, you got to understand what the real is, man. And the hope is that, you know, you empower your children to question things, right? Because, man, like, it's indoctrination. It's literally indoctrination. Like, when we're in school for 8 hours a day away from our parents, being taught what they want to teach us. And it's not like we come home and go, hey, mom, hey, dad, here's everything I learned today. Like, as parents, we got like a solid 2.5 hours with our kids at best when they come home from school, right? But yet they go to sleep and they soak in all that stuff. I mean, you are 100% correct.
That's facts. That's facts. Well, yeah, I want to get into a little bit of a finance conversation, just so that people can learn a little bit more about you guys' thoughts on different things. And we harped on them a little bit, but I want to go a little deeper. So, you know, we thinking about investing, man. Like, one of the things that I wish I would have learned growing up was like about the stock market and about how do you make your money work for you. And I think because like my parents, they were working individuals, worked really, really hard to, you know, build a great life for our family. They ain't know shit about that. So they didn't teach me about it because they didn't know about it. So like, what are some things that parents can do to teach their kids about investing in the market? And, you know, Kyren, we'll start with you.
Honestly, like I said, you know, I'm still a sponge, still learning myself. But, you know, Albert Einstein said the realest, you know, compound interest, learning how to flip. Just because you put your money in the bank does not mean it's going to flip. It's just going to sit there. Now, some banks, it will flip, but most still won't. A lot of people need to understand how to handle interest. Interest is how banks make money. A lot of people do not even know that. Banks love when you do not pay back. They love it. They love when you don't pay back because they're gonna get you. We all know they gonna get you if you don't pay back. So, you know, especially the black community. You know, like we see these houses. You know, that black family. What that black couple do? They sent one of their white friends.
Yeah, they sent a white friend to get it appraised at the right value.
And the price went down, so by far went down. So, you know, we got like, you know, it's good that you see blacks having banks. I love it, you know, but we got to start learning, start investigating, stop just accepting what shit is. We need to start doing our own. You know, like my son, I tell him, you know, if my son wants to end up being a Muslim one day or atheist, whatever, you know, that's on him. I'm going to tell him straight up, study. Don't go off what I say. You go study and learn before you sit here and go what they say, what I say, what this person say. Because anything I'm going to teach you, I'm going to go study to make sure I'm damn right anyway. So, you know, that's what it is, just learning. Because it's a reason why we see these damn capitalists like Donald Trump successful. It's a reason why. Go study. Go learn what he did to get successful. You know, Tupac said the realest shit in the world. You know, read on people that's great so they're no longer great to you. You know, go read why Donald started his damn bank. Go read what made Afeni Shakur teach what she taught Tupac. Go read why Malcolm turned from Red to Malcolm. Go read why Martin Luther King's father had them in church and everything. Go read why his mother was killed at the same church that he was raised at, which people don't even know. You go learn. If you go read a damn book, man, it's so detrimental. Like it's so great to everything you got going on, you know. So start reading, y'all. Everything you see somebody getting praised, they're getting praised for a reason. Go find out why. That's just simple. Do research. We don't research. We just take what they give us and eat it. Stop doing it. Go find out what's in the ingredients of why that person's successful.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man. And I think oftentimes, like, we get mad or we get jealous or we get envious when we see something that we don't understand versus trying to seek out how that person did that. Like, you brought up Donald Trump. Like, I always listen to people complain about the fact that this man, you know, didn't pay taxes or he was, you know, writing off billion-dollar losses and all of that. And I'm like, yo, but go study the tax code. He ain't the only one doing that.
No,
there's a lot of people doing that. Like, they do it when they get into that tax bracket, and those are the things that we don't know about because they don't reveal those things to us. So we got to go do it. We got to be like inquisitive and investigate what's happening there so that we could tap into it and see that that's something that we could take advantage of in our community as well. Donald, same question for you, bro. Like, what are your thoughts on like what we could do as parents to get our kids interested in investing into the market and that stuff?
Yeah, man, I think, so a couple of different things. So right now, 30% of Black America owns cryptocurrency. But when you think about S&P 500 stock, we only own 1.6%. White people own 91.6%. Now we've had access to the S&P 500 stocks for many, many years. And there are many, many options for us to take advantage of that. Charles Schwab has a free account you can open up with them. And you can buy real stocks, not even fractional stocks. But cryptocurrency has taken hold of the Black community because we've been able to build density. We all know somebody that got lucky and hit a lick with Dogecoin or got in early with AMC or GameStop, right? So the first thing that I tell people is you might have to be the first person. You got to act. Like too often we only act when we know someone that is doing X, Y, and Z. That person who does that might have to be you, right? So action is critical. And when you think about building wealth, I think, you know, my guy, you know, said it perfectly, right? You know, it is not a situation where, you know, where we have the luxury of waiting, right? We don't really have time. Like by 2053, the net median income of Black families in the U.S. is going to be 0. And if you don't believe me, go to the grocery store and look at how much you have to pay for 8 bags of food versus what it was a year ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We don't have the luxury of time. When you think about the wealth gap, Black families only build about 1/10 of the wealth of white families, right? So for me, you know, one of the primary things I want people to take a hard look at is inflation. What does inflation look like? You know, sitting money in a savings account doesn't help you if you're not earning interest because inflation is outpacing your dollar. The reason homes are so expensive, the reason cars are so expensive is because the power of the dollar is cheaper now. The dollar's not worth as much as it used to be. It's not that homes are becoming more expensive. Our dollar's not worth as much, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so put your money to work. Money is meant to be put to work. Don't rely on sitting your money in savings accounts to think that it's going to build wealth. You know, that is not a retirement plan. You know, look at effective ways that you can do simple things like dollar cost average. Kind of like we do with tithes, right? Tithes in churches, everybody knows in the Black community, 10%. 10% is what you need to put in your tithes. Now, most of us don't do that, but we at least know that percentage. But if you know that you bring in X number of income per month and your expenses are X, pay yourself and put money away towards wealth building opportunities. Simple things, money market accounts, certificates of deposits, right? If you want to go something simple and go, you know, proven ETFs, you know, through fractional investments. If you're going to invest in cryptocurrency, know what the hell you're doing, right? Cryptocurrency is a whole different ballgame. If you're going to get involved, dollar cost average, right? And worry about acquisition, you know, of that cryptocurrency versus, you know, selling high and buying the dip. Like, unless you got a lot of time or you have density to understand how that works, like, you got to really put in the work. But there are a lot of things that we can do in our community nowadays that, honestly, our ancestors simply did not have these options. Cryptocurrency is a tool, right? If you use it the right way. Money market accounts are a tool. CDs are a tool. ETFs and stocks are a tool. But you got to be able to do it consistently. It can't be this, if AMC is doing X, Y, and Z, then I get involved. And then if I sell high, now I'm done. No, you got to think about the long game, right? You know, you buy stock, think about it for the long game. Get to know the CEO. Man, I'm from a small little town, and there's a guy in my town named Grouchy. Grouchy is like grew up in the streets and self-proclaimed, right? Did it the hard way. But I listened to my guy talk about all the things he's learned about stocks, man, bro. And it makes my spirit happy because he's now teaching people things they can do outside of what people think we do to make money, right? And he understands the game now. He understands when these hedge funds short stocks and things that we can do to get around it, man. There's so many opportunities, but you know, you got to do the research and you got to act. You got to act.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I would say, you know, definitely don't put all your money into one investment vehicle or tool.
Diversify.
You got to diversify because you don't want to make sure like if something bad happens with that vehicle, then you assed out. So don't do that. And then the other thing that I want to mention that I don't know that our people know about, because I mean, I worked in tech for a long time, specifically on the startup side. And there's a lot of people building wealth in tech right now because they're getting in before these companies go public. You know what I mean? So if you can figure out how to get into the venture capitalist game or being an angel investor, or to just put, like, if sometimes you don't have like 25K or something like that to put into it, but there are like crowdfunding sites now where you can get in with some of these VCs, like take advantage of those avenues, man. There's a lot of wealth being built in tech right now. We mentioned like the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musk of the world, right? Like they're building that financial freedom and that wealth through tech a lot of times, and we as a community don't always tap into that. So, you know, definitely we got to, you know, figure out how to infiltrate that space too. There's a lot of resources that I can share out with you guys from people that I know in the space or people that I follow in the space, because we need to get in there. Like that place and that technology space is prime for us to kind of come in and figure out how do we make money. And I'll say that a lot of you probably don't know it, but if you look at Jay-Z, Marcy Ventures, you know what I mean? He's putting money into Black founders and startups. You look at Nas. Nas is making a ton of money with Queensbridge Ventures. So there's a lot that's happening in the tech space that we can be taking advantage of, but we weren't always welcomed in those rooms, so we ain't know about it.
Bro, and let's take it a step further, man. Like I want people to know too, a lot of the angel investors in some of these early rounds, bro, they're only cutting $5,000 checks. It ain't as crazy as people think. Like some of Uber's first investors only cut checks for $5,000. Now, mind you, when Uber became Uber, what do you think that $5,000 was worth? Millions.
Right. You take that $5,000, you put it in the Uber, you put it into an Airbnb when it's just an idea, a crazy idea, you know, for some kids working in the garage, and then it hits big, they IPO. That's generational wealth. You ain't got to work anymore.
And they will gladly take your money. And all you got to do is get plugged into your local ecosystem, man. Like almost every major market has like a startup hub. Get plugged in, you know, show up, meet the founders, man. And those founders will gladly take a small check from you to get their idea off the ground.
Definitely. So speaking to that, Donald, when you raise your next round, we trying to get in on that, bro. So
my God. We got something cool coming through, man. Like we're in the process of setting something up. We're all about helping people build wealth passively. And it dawned on us that we should not exclude venture as a result. So I'll keep you posted, man. We'll have to come back and I'll fill you in on some of the other things we're working on.
That's dope, man. So I know we a little bit over time, so I wanted to wrap. You know, my Lakers playing tonight too, so I got to tap into a little bit.
Bro, come on, Bron. Come on, Bron.
I need this win tonight, but
it ain't looking good.
We prayed up over here. I need this win tonight, man. It was gonna be a long night for me in my house. But I wanted to wrap this up and asking you guys one more thing, man. If you were to look, you know, 5 years into the future, you know, what are you hoping to have accomplished with your platforms? Because you both have built these great platforms where you're trying to help our people. So, Kyren, starting with you, like, what's your hope and what are you hoping to accomplish as your mission?
Yeah, honestly, keep it 100, man. You could have asked me that 5, 10 years ago, man, I would have just said have $1 million. But so many people have $1 million and don't have nothing, don't show nothing for it. You know, that's not it. You know, my whole thing is eventually about 20, 30, 40 years when I'm dead and gone, you know, my name in history books for inspiring. You feel me? So that's really all that matters to me. You know, inspiring. You know, next young kid. You know, next guy that thinks all these parents teach their kids sports, entertainment. That's what I thought. You feel me? And I was in the streets hustling, and look at me. You know what I'm saying? You could have told me, man. You could have told me 10 months ago I'd be an author. You could have told me I'd be sitting here having rubbing elbows with the folks I rub elbows with, and I don't even care about that. You know, it's about sparking the next. You know what I'm saying? Changing things in the community. You know, I never would have saw this path. So, you know, like I said, you know, when I'm dead and gone, my name's still mentioned for inspiring folks. So that's all I really care about. That's all I live for.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. Donald, what about you?
Man, super similar, man. Salute to you too, bro. Same thing, man, bro. Legacy is really all we got, right? And I think about that all the time. Like I think I'm at an age now where I'm realizing like how quick this life is. And all we have is really like what we leave behind, right? And if I can help, one person get on the path they need to get to build wealth, take care of their family, and just honestly, man, like exceed expectations, because Black people, we get so limited. Like once you move sports out of the way, you're right. Like our options, we feel are so limited, man. Like the sky's the limit for us. And similar to my guy, man, like really just trying to inspire people. And if somebody can use my platform, to build wealth and take care of themselves and take care of their families, and hopefully, man, we want to spark a gazillion ideas, man. I want other people coming to us and, hey, I want to create a platform for X, Y, and Z. We got that energy, man. We want to be able to help support people. And, man, we're all we got. Like, I'm done with wishes. I'm done with hopes. I'm done with prayers, bro. We're the solution. It's us. It's always been us too. You know what I mean? And I hope when people look at what we're doing, I'm a regular dude, man. I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't work for Goldman Sachs. I'm a country boy. Grew up in a small little town, man, and decided to act. And I never claimed to be the smartest person in the room, right? And I know there are a lot of other people out there, even on this call, way smarter than me. And I just hope that we can help inspire people to get up and do something.
Thanks.
That's amazing, bro. Definitely aligned with that, man. So, hey, man, I appreciate you Kings jumping on with me tonight. I think the conversation's been super impactful. Hopefully the people enjoyed the gems y'all were dropping. Like I said, anything that we can do here at Dear Fathers to support y'all, I'm definitely on it. I'll be pushing and promoting y'all even on my own personal page, man, because I want to see both of you brothers win. So like I said, leverage me as a resource, leverage us at Dear Fathers as a resource. And, blessings to both you Kings, man. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of y'all evening. Happy Father's Day in advance. And looking forward to watching y'all win.
Appreciate it.
My God. Appreciate y'all.
Peace,
Great meeting you, man.
Yes, sir. You too.